When a man asks, what do women bring to the table? I'm telling you, they usually feel like they're exposing women. And maybe I spend way too much time online in comment sections. I see men asking this question constantly, right? What do you bring to the table? What do women actually bring? And they're framing it like men bring everything and women just have no value, right? What do you bring? Tell me what you bring. Sell me you. Tell me why I should want a woman. As if we need to audition. As if we need to audition. Be so for real. This is not a man that is exposing women, because really what he's doing is exposing himself. There's a much better question, and this is how I am fully going to respond in the future. What is it that you want women to bring? Be specific. Because a lot of men will actually answer this question and say things like peace. Or they'll literally list out all the acts of service, right? They want a woman who cooks, and they want a woman who's loyal, a woman who brings peace. Okay, how? How is it that you want her to bring peace? You know the men that say, I want her to be my peace. Explain it to me. Tell me the exact things. Give me scenarios. Because what I'm seeing is not holding him accountable by not asking him to participate in the house that he lives in the life that he has willfully chosen to participate in. So often, it's literally just by not having the standards that require him to become an actual partner or a better partner. A lot of men don't mean peace. They mean, silence, convenience, compliance. They mean a woman who makes their life easier, but doesn't ask him to grow up or doesn't ask him to actually participate. And that's what this video is about. Because the truth is, women don't need to stand there with a little clipboard listing off all the things of value in them to try to convince some man, especially when that man has decided that the only things worth respecting are money or status, sexual obedience, convenience, control. It's ridiculous. Women do not need to audition. The thing that I always find so odd is if a man is like, I don't see any value in having a woman, well then don't have one. I've never understood this desire to be like, I don't like women. Women need to change. Women need to be something completely different, or convincing us that it's natural, right? Women are naturally submissive. If it was natural, why are you fighting so hard to keep us in that spot? It seems that women are not naturally in that spot. That's my opinion. I've never heard a man ask the question, well, what do women bring to the table in good faith? Absolutely not. It is a bad faith question. So the truth is, don't answer them. But if you're going to answer them, I know that a lot of women say, I am the table. Men just mock that. They don't care. The actual better question, if you must ask one, and I go back to don't bother, but what does that mean? Be specific. What do you want her to bring? That's the question. Because he's sitting here asking you, convince me that you deserve access to me, my approval. Convince me that you deserve my commitment. Get out of here. He wants you to convince him that you're worth choosing. Meanwhile, he wants the woman, right? He wants the sex. He wants the loyalty. He allegedly wants the peace. He knows he wants emotional support. He wants his children managed. He wants his children birthed. He wants his home to feel warm. He wants a home-cooked meal. None of that has value, of course, unless you do all of that while working, supporting him 50-50, right? He wants that princess treatment. He wants to feel like the king, and yet you're the leader. So you're going to run everything, and we're just going to placate this pathetic little man and call him the leader, right? And the crazy thing is so many men who should not be watching my content because it's not for you, but the ones that do watch and feel very argumentative right now, you go ahead and put in the comment section exactly what it is that you want women to bring. And I bet you any money you'll prove my point. The men who understand what women bring, who understand the value of a good woman and what that brings to his life, he's not even asking the question, okay? Never forget, guys, not all men, right? Not all men ask this dumb question. Not all men think like that. There are so many men that are like, what a stupid question. We know what good women bring. We know what bad women bring, right? We're not pretending those women don't exist, but men should stop chasing those women and trying to force them to be the woman they want. Go find the woman you want, right? Apparently, there's so many of them out there, right? You think that there's tons of them. Go find her. I think the issue is that some men want women to bring everything and require nothing. That's the scam of abusive relationships. Abusive men don't devalue women because women have no value. They devalue women because acknowledging what women bring would cost them something, right? They would have to admit that they are dependent on her. It would mean sharing power. It would mean reciprocity, things that abusive men absolutely hate. So today, we're not making some cute little list of what women bring to the table, right? I'm not going to answer the question, well, here's what women bring. If you don't already know, that's a you problem. We're going to talk about why some men refuse to value what they are actively benefiting from. Men benefit from marriage, even a bad marriage. Men benefit. My name is Lisa Sonni. I'm a certified relationship coach. I'm the author of 5 books, and I work with women on helping them exit abusive and toxic relationships with men. And I expose what abusive men do so that women can see through this and find themselves either happily single or in a happy, healthy relationship with a man. Now, I want everyone to really clue in here. He's not asking because he doesn't know, okay? It's not because he doesn't know. It's either because he doesn't value anything about a woman because he's not smart enough to see all the benefits, or because he wants you to be auditioning for him. He wants you to think that you need to be working harder to get him to approve of you. Men know that women make their lives easier. You hear it all the time. I'm even thinking of this video I saw where a man was like, I don't want to go to the bank and I don't want to go pick up my meds from the pharmacy. Why can't I find a wife? Where are all the good women? Oh, you mean a woman who makes your life easier? Got it. So you do know what women bring and you're looking so hard for her. The amount of women that do that happily for their husbands who reciprocate, right? In a nice, happy, healthy relationship. But the women that are treated like servants and are being sent off on errands while he does nothing but bring home money, right? And that's his job. He doesn't have to do anything else. That's what he wants. I just want to go to work, make money, and then have you do everything else for me. He knows who remembers the appointments. He knows who notices when the kids are struggling or who keeps track of, whatever the household needs, who listens to them process the same problem over and over again, who lifts them up, who builds you up, who talks to you, who listens to you. Men know this. They completely understand who buys their mother's birthday presents and who keeps the family connected, who runs their social calendar. The list is endless, right? They just don't want to call it value because when you name it as valuable, when you say that, then you have to actually treat it like it matters, right? You have to stop treating it like it's just your basic entitlement. If he admits that your work matters, then he has to stop acting like it simply appears just because you're a woman. And a lot of men do act like that. I'm talking about that entitlement, right? Like you're a woman, that's your job. You're just better at these things. You need to do all of these things. I go to work and you do everything else. Meanwhile, the vast majority of women work for money outside their houses. And the ones that don't are providing immense value inside their houses. Women have never not worked. Men are benefiting from this, but they don't want to owe anything for all of the benefits that they're getting. Now, men often value what they can count or control or show off, right? It's a very shallow value system. They respect money, especially when it gives them status, or they value your beauty, right? If it makes them look good. They value sex, but only when it gives them access. And I know that they value domestic labor, but it's only when it's quiet and it's expected and you're just doing it without complaining. You're not asking them to contribute or do anything crazy like take the garbage out. They just don't want to respect the actual woman doing it. And I feel like that's the contradiction in this all, right? They want the outcome of women's work. They want the nice house and the raised children and the soft place to land and the loyalty and the comfort and all those things, but they don't want to actually name this as a contribution, right? What do women bring? Exactly. So they want it, but they don't value it. And that doesn't make sense, but that's kind of my point, right? This is face first into the point. They do want it, but if they value it, then it becomes a problem for them because then something has to change inside them and they can't just expect it anymore. Essentially, so many of these abusive men are actually quite literally saying that the things that women bring don't count in their value system. They don't think that those things matter, except that they want them. Makes no sense. Now, a very hot topic these days is like the mental load and invisible labor. And so many men are like, that's not even a thing. It is a thing. It's only not a thing if you're dumb. Honestly, I don't know how to say that in a nicer way. It exists for both men and women. Women are the ones talking about it because theirs tends to be invisible, but the mental load exists in everything, right? Hey, babe, can you go change the oil? Sure, right? So he's either going to get in the car, go to Jiffy Lube, talk to the guy, pay the thing, make sure you have money in the account, all the things. So there's a bit to do there. But if he's actually changing the oil himself, he has to like get the rags, get the jack, get the funnel, get the oil, put that stuff together, bring it out to the car, and then do the task. That's the mental load. It's just preparing that. No different than, oh, what's for dinner tonight? She has to go to the grocery store, get the ingredients, decide what they're eating, make the prep list, probably in her mind, make the actual prepped food, and then cook the food, right? And then let's not forget all the things that happen after. All of that is mental load. Men and women both do it. Why is it only invisible when women are doing it? Because someone is benefiting from not seeing it, and that's the point. Your kid needs something for school? Easy. My wife will do that. My wife always thinks of that. The fridge, you open it up and like, oh, the fridge fairy came. Oh my God, there's food in the fridge. And it's so strange too, because there's so many things that he likes in the fridge. Crazy, right? Oh my God, his doctor's appointment is on Friday and an alarm went off in his phone to remind him 3 days in advance. Who set that up? All of these things, right? And it's not that men are incompetent. And to be honestly, I mean, fair and funny, men are always going on about how they're leaders and they're logical and they're competent, but they don't set up their own systems. They want women to do that because they feel like, well, women are just better at these things. Women sound like leaders to me. Doesn't really match. The leader is the one creating the whole structure, and then the little worker bee goes out and does things, right? Like she decides and learns when is garbage day and when she needs to ask you to take the garbage out. And then you just go do your little job like the good follower that so many men are. Now, to the men who are like, oh my God, this woman hates men. No, not all men, because my spouse uses his brain and his eyeballs and he looks and he goes, the garbage is full. Let me take it out. And then it just magically goes out. I don't even know when the garbage goes out because that's something he takes care of. I don't have to ask. I don't have to buy his Mother's Day presents. I don't have to do anything that is his job. I don't make his doctor's appointments because he is a grown adult human. And in return for his being an adult, a basic adult, reciprocity, right? I do things for him because he does things for me. That's how that works. I know everybody likes to think, right? All the men like to think, oh, that woman's going to end up single and alone. No, I'm going to end up with a man nothing like you. And that's the strategy for so many women. You either be single or you be with a good man because good men exist. The men who are asking this question, that's not you. You're not a good man. Those men that are constantly going on about, oh, I want peace. I want peace. Define peace for me, Dave. Tell me about the peace. What does that mean? Does it mean that she never brings up what you did? That she's forgiving and kind and just continues to serve and offer? She doesn't ask for help. My wife is really independent. She never asks me for anything. Why are you married? That's crazy. Does it mean that she lowers her standards until you finally qualify to be her man? Please. None of that is peace. It's silence and convenience. That's a perfect example of a woman making herself easier for some man who doesn't want to grow. Real peace isn't the absence of accountability. And that is what most men mean when they say it. But they won't admit that, right? They would see me saying this and be like, that woman's crazy. That's not true at all. Why is that the experience of so many women? I speak to women every single day who are describing this. I watch content like this. I see it in the comment sections. I see it in my clients. I work with women who are in abusive relationships, in toxic relationships, and feel stuck and trapped and want to get out. And their partners are the men, partners, right? Those are the men who don't want accountability. This is what is described to me constantly. This is women's real lived experience. Real peace, that requires safety and repair and responsibility and mutual care, shared labor, concern for each other. Sometimes he does more, sometimes she does more. It just moves freely. And it doesn't mean that women are like, I'm not cooking for my man. I cook for mine. I cook him everything. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I'm in charge of those meals. But it's because of the reciprocity that I do that because it's give and take. And there are days where I do more and I don't resent it, or days where he does more and he doesn't resent it. A lot of these men just want a woman who will stop making them aware of the damage that they cause. They want women to bring everything, and they want that same woman to require nothing from him, because that's really the answer to this question, right? What do they want women to bring to the table? Everything. Everything. They want all of it. They want sex, but they don't want her to have sexual autonomy. They want income, but they don't want her independence. He wants loyalty even when he disrespects her. That is crazy. Forgiveness is important in relationships, right? But not forgiveness of abuse, forgiveness of cheating, forgiveness of just weaponized incompetence and laziness. They want all of her domestic labor, but they don't actually want to necessarily reciprocate, and they want to call that natural, right? Her domestic labor is just the natural order of things. And I always find it so crazy. Like, it's not lost on me that men are like, I go to work and you do everything else. What else do you want from me? Okay, then I want a provider. I want men who make money and support my life. Oh my God, you gold diggers. You men have made yourselves responsible for money. You keep calling yourself providers. Okay, provide. Then don't call a woman a gold digger when she wants provision, right? That makes no sense. You want a woman who works like she has no kids, mothers like she has no job, and loves like she has no needs. That's crazy. Why are men so crazy? And again, not all men are like this. Never forget that. Now, a man that acknowledges her value means that he has to acknowledge his dependence on her. And I've seen this before, right? Men are dependent. This is like a new thing people have been talking about on TikTok in some viral video. And it made me laugh because so many men were like, oh, I don't think so. Men are not dependent. I can cook my own food. But do you? When you're married, right? Because men that are dating, you're hoping to get yourself into a marriage where she does everything for you. I'm talking about the men that are actually married, that are exploitative, not the good men, the men who want all of those things from a woman. You don't want to make your own doctor's appointments. You don't want to buy your mother her birthday present. You want your wife to do that. You want your wife to call the dentist for you. You don't want to admit that your life functions better because of her. And I get it. I get it. Men benefit from this system, and they can only keep it going if they pretend there is no system and you're crazy and I'm going to die alone, right? Don't forget, tell me about the cats and the boxed wine and the die alone and the single mother and the old and the bitter and all the tropes that men use to convince women that they have no value. And I am from a generation where I remember feeling that. I remember the feeling of like, oh, these things are real. And when you hit 40, like, girl, please, absolutely not. Most women I talk to are so happy to be alone, to be single, to be happy. And they are filled with pets and friends and family, and not usually boxed wine, because women are actually doing pretty well financially without men. If he were to acknowledge her contribution, then he would have an obligation to do something, to reciprocate. And they don't like that, right? If her care is valuable, then he has to give care back. But if care is just expected, then what do you want me to do about that? You're doing your job. You're supposed to cook. You're supposed to do all of these things. I don't have to do more than just work, right? That's how this works. That's the framework that makes this cycle keep going. Her contribution is expected and his is optional. And that's just the nature of relationships, right? And when she asks for more, he'll go, she wants too much. And if they're in a dating scenario, if they're not actually together yet, he'll say, what do women bring to the table? And abusive and entitled men, they love pretending that a woman's labor is natural, right? Women are just nurturing. Women are just better with kids until they get divorced, and then it better be 50-50 because women aren't better with kids. Dads matter too, which, to be fair, dads do matter too. I completely agree with that. Good, safe dads as good, safe mothers both matter. But what I'm saying is it's the man who's like, but you're just better with the kids. The guy who let you be a married single mother will be the guy who demands 50-50 when you guys split up. An active dad while married becomes an active dad while divorced. That makes sense to me. Truth be told, the word natural, it does a lot of work for men. It does a lot of heavy lifting, right? Because if it's natural, then it doesn't necessarily need appreciation, or it doesn't count as labor because it's just natural, right? Fish swim and women do domestic labor. That's how it works. Now, this kind of strategic devaluation, it always makes women work harder. even in, well, what do women bring to the table? And then you work hard to answer his question. Don't answer that man's question. Don't bother. Now, if you're feeling playful or feisty or a little spicy, you can ask the question I'm suggesting, which is, what do you want her to bring? And be specific. Make sure you get examples. What a lot of these abusive men is, they want a woman who accepts crumbs, lowers her standards, stays afraid nobody else will want her, and keeps trying to become valuable enough to be treated well. He wants a woman who's proving her worth constantly, proving her value constantly. Look what I bring to the table. I can cook and I can clean and I'm really nice and I'm loyal and I'll listen to you and I'll stay when you cheat on me. That's what these men want. Absolutely not. A woman trying to prove her value is so much easier to exploit. She'll keep bringing more to the table while he keeps questioning whether she even deserves a seat at the table. Men only notice her value when she takes it from him, right? Suddenly, he doesn't know the kids' routines, and that's crazy. He doesn't know the teachers' names. He doesn't know his own doctor's name. He doesn't know why the house feels different, why the dishes just stop getting done, why the food stops being cooked. He doesn't understand any of it. All of his social support could dry up, all of this, and then suddenly it matters. He'll learn what she brought to the table, but he still won't value it because this is a belief system and a mindset of abusive men. You can't just start listing off the reasons hoping that he'll get it. Men who don't actually value the care and the nurturing that women often bring, they're not going to value the woman providing it. Men, here's an example. Men who don't value repair, they're going to call the woman nagging when she tries to save the relationship, right? Because repair doesn't matter. So when she's pleading to him to make things better and offering suggestions and reading books and watching YouTube videos and trying to get help for them, trying to work on herself, asking him to work on himself, he's like, oh my God, here you go again. Nothing I ever do is good enough for you. She's trying to save the relationship, but you don't want to hear that because he doesn't value repair. Repair is actually a relationship skill that too many men don't have. They're not taught this. The truth is, abusive men need the bar low enough that they can leap right over it, right? We have to accept that there are some women that these men just can't have, but they don't like that. They want options. They want all the options. They want the best women, but they don't want to put anything into it. Unfortunately, the best women are married to men that are nothing like the men I'm describing. If her standards are just too high for you, say that. Instead of trying to beat her down into submission and make her standards lower, just say, those aren't my standards. I don't fit that criteria. You don't fit hers either. What's the problem? Women don't need to prove that they're worth loving. That is a crazy concept to me. She doesn't have to present some portfolio of all the things that she's going to do, and then she can ask for kindness. Get out of here, right? There needs to be mutual care, shared responsibility, honesty, growth, normal things in relationships. What do women bring to the table is not a real question. It is not a question that has any value and is a question that should never be answered. But listen to the men when they're asking it because you need to be kind of decoding what they're actually saying. You will know better what the men are saying than the men who are saying it. And the truth is, when you raise the bar, you may get a better man or you may get no man. And that's okay because no man is better than a man who needs the bar in hell so that he can jump over it easily. Subscribe if you're not already. And if you want to work with me one-on-one or join my group coaching programs, please do that. You can visit my website at lisasonni.com or join me inside my online community for women survivors called She Rises Collective. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.